Hey, my nigga, it's me and you, dog. Fuck the world, fuck everybody who listening, fuck everybody in this room. We can do this shit right here, my nigga, leave this shit where it's at. We can do this motherfucker one last time and be done with it, my nigga. Let's do it.
Let's do them all for it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it, nigga. What's happening?
Hey! Where your ice at? Where your Chinese rings at?
God damn.
We headed to the Jeezy and Gucci. We headed to the compound. If you in the ATL and you really get money, y'all got to be there. This is a historic event.
My nigga.
We appreciate y'all tuning in. Hey man, listen. All respect. I appreciate you for throwing out the olive branch. I accept that. No disrespect. It's all love.
Love, my
That's
nigga. Let's
real,
get it. A-Town.
hey.
This what it is, baby. 20 years, nigga. 20 years, nigga.
Hey, Holiday.
20 years, nigga.
I salute you, Holiday.
Tell Jay-Z and Nas they better watch out.
Salute the Guwap, man. Shout to my brother Big Snow. Shout to my brother DJ Holiday.
$19 million. That's how many of your American neighbors, friends, and family members are going to be homeless on January 1st, the day after the CDC's moratorium, the hold on evictions, takes place. They're going to lose their homes when the limit expires in less than 45 days. Local agencies across the United States are reporting that millions of Americans are in danger of losing their homes as federal and local limits on evictions expire at the end of the year, which they warn is going to lead to a massive amount of unrest as people reach into a new measure of despair and anxiety that they have never experienced before. Psychologists are warning the government right now that losing your home is one of the most traumatizing events that can take place in modern society. They say it can stop a person from being able to find a new apartment or a new home to rent for up to 10 years. Losing your home, they say, leads to drug use, it leads to self-harm, and it leads to anger against the government. And that is what the government is really afraid of. That is why you'll experience continued unrest into 2021. A report that was issued this month from the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, as well as the University of Arizona, estimates that 6.7 million households will be evicted in the coming months. And that's a lowball figure. That figure was made months ago, determined on the fact that individuals would be able to continue to make seasonal money. They would have their winter jobs. They would have their Black Friday income. But that did not and is not going to happen. The American economy is going to continue bleeding, drawing more households into this home and living despair, they warn. Even at these lowball figures, this amounts to a staggering 19 million people. They expect it's going to be somewhere around 25 to 50% more than this. But even at these low figures, 19 million of your friends, families, and neighbors will be without their home. Our concern is that we're going to see a huge increase in evictions after the CDC moratorium is listed. That's Andrew Arand, the vice president of research at this organization. Meanwhile, renters are still paying their rent. They're relying on unsustainable income to make ends meet, they warn. Among those who are troubled to make their rent, more than half are borrowing money from family, borrowing from friends. 1/3 are using credit cards, and 1/3 are spending down their savings. There's going to come a point in time where this charade, this house of cards falls down, the veil breaks open, and the world sees for what it is, the crisis that we're all facing. Approaching a payment cliff, the CDC order protects individuals who make less than $99,000 a year from being evicted, but this is not an all-saving moratorium. You're seeing thousands of people be evicted every single week. It's happening right now. You can go watch the video of the sheriff's department, local law enforcement coming in and taking people sometimes by force out of their homes because they don't meet certain criteria. They didn't send their paperwork in time, or whatever it might be. Maybe they didn't even get their paperwork. This crisis isn't just for those who are going to be evicted. What about those homeowners that are renting out another house? What about the people who are renting out a room to try to make ends meet? They can't pay their mortgage. Now they're going to be foreclosed on. It just gets worse and worse and worse as we continue. Many states and cities are imposing renter protections, but these are quickly ending, they warn. The situation is going to reach crisis levels in the new year, they stress. With Congress yet to pass a relief package, 12 million Americans are set to lose their unemployment around Christmas time, around the holiday season. And when that happens, that will be the final straw that breaks the entire system, they say. If you were a low-income renter before this crisis and you were hit financially, even if your income starts to recover, you're going to have a very hard time paying back the rental debt. They're stressing right now that what we're seeing today is only the beginning of what we're going to see in the next 6 months. The UK Chancellor is warning the world that our, quote, economic emergency has only just begun. Conservative Chancellor announced years of austerity to come. The UK is forecast to to borrow a total of $394 billion this year. That's equivalent to 19% of the GDP, the highest recorded levels of borrowing in peacetime history. Without a war that is driving people to military use, this is the largest debt that the world has ever accrued. The scarring from this crisis, they warn, will mean an economy between 3 and 6% smaller by 2025. We're talking 5 years from now, and we're still going to be suffering this crisis. If you aren't seeing the bigger picture for what it is, and you're just seeing the small picture, you're seeing the local homeless crisis, you're seeing the the store shelves being a little bit empty, you're not seeing the large picture. The large picture is that in 2022, when you're 2 years older, when your children are 2 years older than they are right now, you're going to need to use every bit of that space, the grass on your property, the windowsill, your balcony, whatever it is, you're going to need to use that space to grow food because this crisis is just beginning. After a decade of pay restraint that has gutted living standards, they say, pay freezes are announced to 4 million workers. Remember, this is just the UK, but it's happening across the world. I have always said, he warns, we cannot protect every job. Expect unemployment to rise to a peak in the second quarter of next year. If you think it won't happen here just because we're in America, think again. Some industries, they'll rise to the top. You'll see healthcare will rise to the top unless you start to see other actions take place. Infrastructure maybe will rise to the top a little bit. Definitely things like plumbers, electricians, everyone's going to need those. Though they're not going to be making the same amount of money that they were making in 2019, you're not going to be able to charge $150 for an hour for someone to sit in the back of their car and retune or change out a capacitor for your AC unit. But they will continue making money. It's a necessary, a needed skill set. If you and your family don't have that needed skill set, you need to start thinking about making it today. Black Friday shopping in stores cratered 52%, according to economists. Traffic inside of stores fell by 52.1% compared with last year as Americans largely held back and eschewed economic crisis did not head to the malls. They were not queuing in lines to go shopping. For the 6 weeks of the holiday season this year, traffic in retail stores is expected to be down by 25% year over year. We knew Black Friday was going to be rough, they said. We just didn't know how bad it was going to be. That's Brian Field, a senior director at Global Retail Consulting. Black Friday this year, from a traffic perspective, looked a lot like a typical Saturday. You see, industries, workplaces, especially those on commission or if you own your small shop, they would plan their entire holiday season on Black Friday. You would get sometimes 2 months worth of income just on this one sales season. They would use that money to pay their rent, to pay their mortgage, to buy gifts for their family. Now they're not going to be able to buy gifts, buy a good meal. They're not going to be able to pay their mortgage and pay their rent. Their lease is going to go out. The coming tide of despair is almost here. Los Angeles County health officials on Friday announced a stay-at-home order set to take effect in just 2 days. It urges residents to avoid gathering with people they don't live with. The temporary order will be in place for 3 weeks through December 20th. If you don't think they did that for a reason, mark the day of December 20th, just 5 days short of the Western celebrated religious event of Christmas Day. Think again. They're using this because they know that if they try to mess with that dichotomy, if they try to mess with that ingrained, programmed pattern of behavior that you can't go see your family on Christmas, they might as well start the riots today. H5N8, bird flu. It's across the world. It's rising again. 6 countries reported more highly pathogenic H5N8 avian flu outbreaks in poultry and wild birds. That's according to the World Organization for Animal Health. 5 of the countries are in Europe. Belgium reported 3 detections, which is up. West Flanders province, Croatia reported an outbreak. If you have birds like we have there, you have to start taking biosecurity into consideration. We're closing our coops in, and we're going to start a biosecurity pattern of behavior so that we don't walk in with the same boots that we're outside with, because all it takes is a bird flying overhead. That bird comes over, it lets its droppings down, you step on it, and you step it into your coop, and now all of your birds die. Guys, in the coming months, in the coming years, we are going to need those birds. We're going to need those offspring of those birds. We're going to need to be hatching each one of those eggs that we're not eating to provide future food for the family. The shell, that's calcium carbonate. Somebody in your family has indigestion or acid reflux, you bake those shells, you clean them, sterilize them, bake the shells, crush them up into a powder. That's calcium carbonate, the same exact active ingredient that's in Tums that you buy over the counter. If you want to be able to help yourself and help your family, you start thinking about the next couple of years today. This is a long duration emergency. This event is not going to be over. It's not going to get better anytime soon. Even after the bio threat is over, we're going to be facing the largest economic disaster that our generations have ever faced. And with that will come violence, will come war. It's going to bring unrest and anxiety into our countries and into our homes. But this message is not for despair for you. This message is so that you and your family can start to get ready. Close in your chicken coops, start a garden on any ground that you have, bring in soil if you need to, start a container garden, grow indoors, whatever you have to do, start to get ready for what is happening. If you have family members who don't see this, just keep talking to them. Show them by your example. Talk to them about why you're closing in your chicken coop. Send them a picture. Say, hey, we just closed in the chicken coop. Did you know that all it takes is a bird flying overhead to bring a bird flu outbreak into your coop and kill off all your birds? I couldn't imagine that to happen to my chickens. I love them. Just through those subtle discussions, talking to them, you're going to awaken them to the world that we're living in. And maybe they'll pick up that yoke themselves and they will say, you know what? That's smart. I think I'm going to get a couple of chickens on my own. Maybe I live in an apartment. I'm just going to get some quail in my, they won't know whether they're parakeets or any other kind of small budgegars, whatever they are. They won't know the difference, but I'll be able to eat their eggs no matter how small. Think about what you can do for the events that lay ahead. From my family to yours, please stay safe and keep watch. We only have 2 more days left on joining us on patreon.com/Full Spectrum Survival so that you can get in for next month's monthly mail out of physical survival cards. If you already have your food and water prepared, if you already have your rice bought, consider joining us and supporting us there at the $10 level. From my family to yours, please stay safe.